Hi, can you hear me, Hitesh?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So let me start by welcoming everyone here to our talk about inner child with Hitesh. I'm Pinky Daga. I'm CEO of Thrive Art and Soul, and here today I'm welcoming Hitesh Vashisht. And he is an expert. He's a past life regression therapist, an inner child therapist, and a wonderful life coach with great wisdom and knowledge. So I'm really excited to talk to you today about a subject which not many of us know about and how it really can affect us. And that is about the inner child. So, welcome, Hitesh. How are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you, Pinky, for having me. It's a pleasure to be on the Thrive platform. Thank you.
Yes, you are most welcome, Hitesh. So let's start, Hitesh, by if you could just tell us that what exactly is inner child work.
Right. So basically, inner child means that part of us which we were born with. It's basically the godlike self, and
Right,
all the qualities that we thought of God possessing, which means the innocence and the playfulness and the ability to see everything in wonder, the intelligence which is very high in nature, not that the bookish knowledge. All these qualities are actually the part of the child within us, and I'm sure there are many examples that we see in children today wherein they portray these qualities of being innocent, being playful and seeing everything with wonder. So this is what the inner child means, right?
right. And when you talk about doing inner child therapy, so
Right.
what is the therapy all about?
Right. So, since, as I mentioned, that this is what the inner child work helps us to connect with the inner child and then understand the inner child and then finally embrace the inner child, right? Because what happens is that over the period of time when we begin to go through our developmental stages, due to parental control, due to societal pressure, we begin to lose our godlike qualities, and all that happens to us during the childhood days. It becomes so powerful that it overshadows the godlike qualities. And since we've been told, quite a lot of times that you're good for nothing or you are bad and you're not a good boy or a good girl, then at times we begin to judge ourselves, and children are like this, and when we go through that, we lose our essence of being that godlike self. So inner child work helps us to connect, understand, and finally embrace the child, because somewhere down the line we all are victims of our own judgment, so it helps us to embrace ourselves just the way we are. And not just that, inner child is basically, it's going to help you to understand others, because once you have understood the dimension of your own self, you are able to understand others well. Another important dimension of the inner child is it makes you a better parent. So most of the people whom I meet in my therapy work, I see that even if they've grown older, they are going through the parenting issues, and when we see to their root causes, we find that it is related to their own childhood.
Right.
So that is how inner child healing works, and it is one of the most powerful work that I've ever come across.
Can you share with us a live example of, you don't need to share the name, of course, but a live example of somebody who's, didn't know that a certain adult issue could be solved by going back to the inner child. Can you share a testimony or an example?
Okay, so let me share my own example
Okay.
because that will really,
Hmm.
help us understand things more. So I was born up in a Punjabi family, and we all lived in a joint family system wherein cousins and brothers and sisters and chachas and buas, everybody staying together. So my issue as a child was that I carried the dark color skin. And all my brothers and sisters and cousins, they all were very fair. So whosoever would come at home and they would look at me and they would say,
Hi guys, I think that there's some network issue. Just give us a minute. Just sorting it out.
तुमच्याद्वारे कॉल केला गेलेला नंबर त्यावेळेस नेटवर्क कव्हरेज आहे.
Sorry guys, there's a network issue on Hitesh's end. They're just trying to sort it out. Give us 2 minutes. Here he is. He's on mute, guys. Keshav is on mute.
so
Yeah. Hi.
just had a power cut, so
Yeah. Okay. No problem. No problem. Yeah.
So-
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
so continuing with my own stories,
Yes. Yes.
issues that I carried as a child was the
So you were the dark skinned guy in the fair Punjabi family.
absolutely, and everybody looked at me like an ugly duckling, and
Oh, no.
say that, oh, he doesn't seem to be of your family, his face doesn't match to his mother, and if you see my sister, you would be completely surprised. We are poles apart and she's really fair. And so this really this didn't mean that they did not love me. They really loved me. All my relatives really loved me. But I used to take those comments really hard on myself. And what would happen is that I started to copy my cousin, because I had a cousin of mine who was fairly handsome, and every color would suit on him. So all these things would continue on you would look really good on all the colors. I tried to make my hair like him, but I could not copy him. And I had dark elbows and dark knees. Everything bothered me really a lot about myself. So I was so obsessed with my own color that till 12 years I did not wear any color apart from white, thinking that white little bit would rub to my skin and I would start to look a little better. And
Yeah.
so in that whole journey I realized that when I reached at the age of 12, I suffered from asthma. And asthma means that your chest, your respiratory system is not supporting you anymore, in order for you to breathe and have air in your full capacity.
Right.
So that was the time I started to smoke, so that I can catch the attention of people and they really approve of me for my own machoism and all these things that I began to,
Yeah.
until one day I realized that how far I have moved from my own self by doing all these things. So it was the beauty of this inner child work which made me realize that we are closest to God when we are closer to our own self. right? And this is how I began to work. I started to work with the child within. I began to tell the child that it's okay to have this color, and my color hasn't changed, but my acceptance for myself has grown many folds, and as a consequence of it, asthma never came back. I 10 years down the line, around 12 years back, asthma completely moved out, and
Wow.
without any medicine. And I carried such a fragile body because of inhalers and steroids going in the bloodstream,
Right.
but everything moved out of the system. And
Wow.
so that is purely the beauty and the work of this inner child.
Yeah. So tell me, how does the therapy really work? Like when we talk in a practical way,
Right.
how would, if somebody wanted to, do this for themselves, how would the therapy work? How does the therapist normally go about it? What are the techniques you use? How long does it take?
Right. So inner child, to be very frank, it's a very deep subject. You just can't say, oh, once you have worked on your inner child, your work is over. No.
Yeah.
Every day, even now, every day, you keep surfacing with those inner child issues. The
Right.
only thing that you need is that you are devoted and committed for your own self working. And whenever you see such patterns happening, you are able to embrace the child and work on it.
Right.
So how do we do that? Basically, when we take up your history, when somebody comes, a subject comes for a session, we take up their history, we understand their patterns, we ask them about their womb stage, wherein they were in the gestation period during their mother's pregnancy, and then we understand their early childhood days. And this is how we move on, and then we figure out what are the issues that they are currently facing up in their life. And once we understand that, then we help them draw lines, that
Right.
how it
Connect the dots.
connect the dots. And then a lot of therapy work which is involved, and this is a very intense work, which means that we help you to connect with the child, we help you to embrace the child. And embracing is a most important part. And at times, people fall as a prey to their own judgment. They continue to judge the child even when they have met the child. So you have to let go of your judgment if you want to embrace the child fully. And once you have built the connection, once you have let go of the all the judgments towards the child, and once the child is able to trust to you, then the correction happens naturally. All the patterns can be uh, framed and reframed, and everything can be broken, and something new can be created out of it.
So tell me something then. How do your patterns which were in your childhood, how
Right.
do they really affect your adult life, your current life? Like what happens?
Right. So, in order for me to answer this question, I would say let us look at what exactly in the adult self, uh, what are those behavior in the adult self that actually speaks about your childhood wounds.
Right.
Right? So, let me just share those examples. One of the most important examples is if, as an adult, you feel abandonment, you feel somebody rejects you, you feel that oh, what if they don't approve of me, what if they leave me, and you become too clingy to people, right? You are not able to let them go, you have a fear of separation. It is quite likely that it is coming from your childhood stages, wherein you have experienced separation either from your mother, your father, or your loved ones. What I have seen in my therapy, such children, they have gone through, let's say, the death of a mother father, or their mother father separated, or mother or father, both of them were not available when the child was growing, or let's say the mother was also working in nature and she couldn't devote enough quality time to the child. So these could be reasons, and so this is one. The second thing could be that when you are not able to trust others, when you are not able to trust life per se, you are very cautious of why the other person is doing like this, why they are giving me favors, and you try to see it with an act of suspicion.
Right.
Right? And Why it happens? Because as a child, somewhere your trust was broken. You trusted somewhere, and you trusted this uncle who used to visit you, and then he kind of gave you a bad touch. And you trusted your, let's say, your mama, who said that if you come first, I will buy you a bicycle, but he didn't you know fulfill the promise. So these incidents may be small, but child, they create meaning out of anything, and it is their own system which is happening within, and they create meaning like that. And another thing could be codependency, wherein you feel that your happiness is dependent on someone else. So for example, there is this family, mother, father, two children, and the father is an alcoholic father, and mother keeps cribbing about the father, and she says that this damn fellow does everything which is nasty, and he doesn't look at all of us. The child is listening to all of it, right? And whensoever there comes a happiness, a good moment in the family, the mother says, I wish your father also leaves the alcohol, then we all will be happy.
Right.
So what is she trying to do? She's actually trying to put the burden on alcohol to make herself happy. This is called codependence, which means your own happiness is dependent on something else, right? So this is
Yeah.
how
Yeah. So, I mean, is it really like the way you are saying it, that this issue can be resolved through this? But is it really so easy to resolve patterns which are so deep in your system? First of all, to recognize that pattern and to resolve that pattern,
right.
that is very, I think, very difficult,
It may be difficult, but it's
Yeah.
not impossible, and the uh, the thing is, the one who has created also has got the power to dismantle it, so if we come from that approach, of course, sometimes it takes consistent efforts. Sometimes it happens just like this, like a thunder, and it finishes everything. But sometimes we all need consistent efforts, and it depends from person to person how
Yeah.
much you are eager to work on it, how much you are devoted to your inner child.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah. And tell me, how do subconscious patterns like this manifest into physical issues? What is the connection?
right. So for example, let me speak about this woman I met long time back. She came to me and she said, my issue is that in the evenings my heart begins to sink. I am, throughout the day I'm perfectly okay, but only when the evening time comes in, and my heart begins to sink, and I'm not able to find the apparent reason as to why it is happening to me. And okay, we get into this session and we try to reach to the root cause, and we reached to a memory when she was 6 years old. And she exactly reached to the memory wherein it was evening. She was 6 years old, and she is standing at the main door, and papa is going to come home, after day's work. As soon as he comes home, then they all are quiet. She quickly ran to her bedroom and began to study, and everything began to happen like that. Later on, we realized that her belief pattern was that when papa comes in the evening, you have to be slow, you have
Mhm.
to be down, you just can't be in your own full playful mode. You have to just be down. So now the situations had changed. There was no such fear of papa, but the attachment that she created with the evening, she was still playing that. So which is why she was always carrying the low feeling. And
Mhm.
as soon as she was able to connect the dots together,
Huh, huh.
from the very next day, she began to feel that there is no such low feeling, down feeling. All anxiety that she carried because of that evening stuff, everything vanished. So so that is how
the
pattern state.
the pattern, that deep patterns manifest into physical issues.
Right, right, right.
Right. And
And
sometimes, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, go ahead, please.
I said sometimes, it's very and in your regular life you will not recognize this as a pattern.
Right.
But with the help of a therapist, you can actually connect the dots, recognize it as a pattern. And you wouldn't think that a physical issue, the first thing that we do is we run to a doctor, normally speaking, but especially for chronic issues. Hitesh, are you there? I think we've lost him again. Sorry, guys, Hitesh is having a lot of network issues. Give it a minute, please. I will read the questions in the meantime. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Let's see if he comes on in a minute. So, guys, I'm not the expert, but I'll just share that a lot of times what I have seen with many people, especially when they're suffering from mental anxiety or are prone to depression, it comes through a lot of suppressing of our inner child issues, things that we've gone through in childhood, the pain that we felt. A lot of it, mainly the fear, the anxiety, the depression, all of that comes from suppression of many things that we may have even forgotten. It really helps a lot to work with a therapist who can help us connect these dots, go back to the memories. And so many times these memories are in our subconscious. We can't even consciously remember that, oh, yeah, that memory, that day. I mean, certain times there are big issues, which of course we know, but there are some small things, like how he was just sharing that 6 o'clock in the evening, the lady had forgotten about the fact that she would feel this way, when her father would come home. So she totally forgotten about it. So, now she really, she could connect the dots and the sinking feeling went. Hidesh's asthma was, completely cured when he connected the dots to being, the child that didn't feel any self-worth. So, especially when we are carrying a lot of these feelings of low self-esteem, low self-worth, fear, anxiety, especially in teenagers, when these things become obvious, it's very important that we go back and we deal with it rather than just, let saying, oh, that's the personality. Oh, the personality is to be clingy, or the personality is to be fearful, or the personality is to be overcautious. Um, it doesn't matter, whatever negative manifestation that we see of either ourselves or someone else, it is generally connected to a past pattern. And yeah, sorry guys, there's something's going on. So I'm going to read something from the chats while we wait for Ritesh to come back online. Someone has said, my daughter is a lovely young girl, but she seems to be attracting guys who have psychological issues. And she kind of repairs them. Then they break up. Could you please advise? So I will let Hitesh, of course, give you the expert advice. But even from what um, I have seen all these years, women who keep attracting the same kind of man, the same pattern, repeated patterns over and over, either keep breaking up in the relationship, or there is a fractured relationship which they keep attracting into their lives. It definitely has to do with some inner child memory. And don't mistake it that inner child work does not need to just be done by someone who's had a bad childhood. Somebody could have had a really good childhood, happy memories, happy childhood, but still there is a memory, there's something that's happened. You could have felt very loved in your childhood, but nobody's life is perfect. You must have had an overbearing parent, any kind of demanding expectations, anything that happened, they will play out until they're dealt with. Sorry, guys, I'm going to call Hitesh and see what's up. You can connect with Hitesh on our Thrive platform also. Uh, Go look him up online, and you can book a session with him. There's just a question that came up right now.
Hello.
Yeah, Hitesh, are you able to join?
No, I'm not able to. It is not allowing me to join because it says that you've been removed.
Okay, I think okay. So let me just speak to the tech team. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I am also trying to join.
Yeah.
Just open the text.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Huh, Keshav?
Yeah, probably.
Sorry for all these tech issues, guys. I think Hitesh is in an area where they're suffering from a lot of network issues. And I think COVID times demands great network. So sorry about this. Somebody has asked, is that I'm taking this from perspective of being a parent. Like Hitesh mentioned in the beginning, um, definitely, like if you are a parent and you work on your own inner child, it can really transform your relationship with your children and really give you that extra oomph you require for parenting. And we all need that extra energy, I think, to parent our kids. And just knowledge, just knowing, just once you work on it and once you work on the inner child, just to have awareness of your patterns and where they are coming from, I think that's half the game. If you can just become aware and what, where am I going? Oh, I'm carrying this pattern. Oh, this is how it's playing out in my life. Okay, now you can watch, you can observe yourself, and you can watch and you can correct it. Okay, I think he's joining again. There he is. Okay, guys, he's coming back. So stay online because Hitesh is going to make us do a very nice exercise that is going to help us discover our own inner child and connect to it. So just stay online, give a few more minutes, a few more seconds probably of patience. Here he is.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yes, I can.
Okay.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
So, but nevertheless, I don't know what's this
Yeah,
little technical.
I don't know. We've never had these tech issues, but
Sorry about that.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, our people have been patiently waiting. So
Thank you, dear friends. I'm really sorry to have put you in such situation.
no. I think it's all right. So Hitesh, you were going to make everyone do exercise, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So why don't we take the people into something interesting as a reward for their waiting?
Perfect.
Yeah, if
Yes.
we can do the exercise.
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
So
let's guide it.
what I would like you to is to just simply close your eyes and take a long deep breath. Just breathing in from your nose, holding it for a while, and breathe out from your mouth. And coming back to your normal, natural breath. Telling it to yourself that I am ready. And then in your mind's eye, I would like you to project the picture, the image of your childhood self. Just the way you looked in your childhood photographs, your childhood memories. Just try to connect to that little boy or little girl. Just try to see that child and feel this child from your mind's eye become real and comes and sits right next to you. This little girl, this little boy comes and sits right next to you, either on your left or in your right. You can absolutely feel the presence of this little boy, little girl. All that you're feeling right now is valid. So if you feel there is a shift in your emotions, perfectly okay. And at the same time, if you feel that there is some wonder, some playfulness which is rising in you, that is okay too. If you feel sad, absolutely all right. Just stay with what is happening. And now look at this child as if you are ready to conversate with the child and tell it to this child, hello, I am your future self. And I am so glad that you are here to meet me, to be with me. Look into the eyes of the child. Eyes are the door to look inside the heart. You can absolutely know what is going on inside the heart of this little boy, little girl. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. Some of the feelings can be uncomfortable in nature. It's okay to have this discomfort. Let's not resist it because our doors of the heart will open up through this. You hold the hand of this boy or this girl, and then you gently put your hand on the shoulder of this little boy, little girl. And if the child is comfortable, allow yourself to hug the child. Literally feel as if you lift your hands up and you bring this child, pull this child very gently towards your heart, as if the child is able to feel your warmth. Like a mother, you are hugging the child. The way mother has no qualms about the child, you embrace the child just the same way. No judgments, nothing. which can stop you to embrace the child completely. Tell this child, I love you for who you are. I embrace you for who you are. I will never leave you. I will never abandon you. I am always there for you. And you are precious to me. You matter to me. You are important to me. God smiled when you were born, and you are special to me. Let go of your past, guilt, shame, because the past is over and it's a new you. I would like you to come with me to your new home, and that is my heart. Come and stay in my heart. And as you allow the child to enter in your heart, gift the child a balloon of your favorite color, red, blue, green, golden. But this balloon has a special quality, and the quality is it's a reminder to the child that you are worthy, you are enough. Tell it to this girl, this boy, my dear little inner child, this balloon is for you. And this balloon is to remind you that you are worthy, you are enough. See the child with the balloon now. How do you feel when you see the child with the balloon? With the balloon of worthiness, with the balloon of being enough. Tell the child, I'm always there for you. And I will keep coming back to you whenever you need me. And now we are not different. Since you stay in my heart, we can have ample of time together. The balloon of the child is your balloon too. You are worthy too. You are enough too. Spending some time, how you are going to use this worthy balloon in your life from now onwards. What decisions, what choices are you going to make from now onwards for this? Taking a deep breath and opening your eyes with a smile on your face. Okay, dear friends, welcome back.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Hitesh. That really, really helped. It felt so warm and so good just to reconnect to that little girl inside me. So I think we've lost Hitesh again. And it's 5:30, so we're going to stop this session. You can email us, and you can even uh, write to Hitesh on our platform if you have any further questions. I'm really, really sorry about all of these technical issues today, but I think we shall close the session uh, with that wonderful exercise that Hitesh just did. So, everyone, please embrace your inner child, and you know, I hope to see you again soon. I have another talk tomorrow as well. Oh, Hitesh is back. Hitesh.
Yeah, some is happening today, but that's all right.
No, it's okay. So maybe we can take some of the questions. Can you read the questions at your end, Hitesh?
Let me just look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
so I can't read because my chat is completely empty right now.
Okay. So I'll read them out.
Sure.
Keshav, if you can just scroll the questions for me. One is, if we have fear or insecurity, uh, does it have something to do with your inner child?
Yes,
Yeah.
it definitely has something to do with your inner child. The idea is that you need to look into the patterns of your life, especially of your childhood, wherein
Right.
some things were taken away from you.
Right.
You lost something, right? Or
Right.
maybe you have seen your mother, father losing something in their business. So that is what creates security issues and fears.
Right. And somebody has asked, what is the best way to deal with all the triggers that we face? Would inner child work therapy help with that as well?
Of course, inner
Yeah.
child therapy definitely helps you with that.
Okay. And we have a lot of feeling of self doubt and being not good enough. Can
Right.
Yeah, I mean, can is this also connected to the inner child?
Yes, absolutely. It has 100% roots in the inner child. When we feel doubtful of our own potential, it is coming from our childhood. The
Right.
first thing that you have to understand is how and in what circumstances you were made aware. You were told that you're not good enough. You
Right.
first understand those memories, and then we connect to that child and we tell that child that you are worthy. There is nothing to doubt.
Yeah.
And for you to make the child feel better, you find evidences from your life wherein you took a decision and you took without a doubt and it really worked.
Yeah.
So which will really help the child to find trust in self and figure out that yes, I can really do it. There's
Right.
nothing to be doubtful of.
Um, okay, when I was 2 years old, I had persistent cough and felt very strongly that it will never be cured and I will stay like this all my life. I am 40 now and still have this issue now. It's not medical. I've checked everything. Can you help?
Yes, so I suggest you to work on your womb memories, right?
Hmm.
When you were inside your mother's womb. It is quite possible that one, your mother was not able to express herself, and you are kind of absorbing her feelings and carrying the same feelings, right? Second thing is your mother father wanted a male child, and you are a female. So usually what has happened is there is a rejection of our own expression that the child has gone through, which is what has led through cough, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if you try to explore these two dimensions, especially of your mother and your own expression
Right.
in the womb stage, the acceptance of who you were, you'll be able to tap into this cough better.
Right. Right. Okay. What is the age group referred to here for the inner child?
Okay, so there are different age groups, but I would suggest you to take yourself till 21 years.
Okay. Okay. I did an inner child workshop last year, but how can I continue? So the person is asking, it's a good question. But what should be my homework?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
So the first and the foremost important thing that you can begin with is some appreciations to your own self, right? Every day communicating to the child and telling the child, my love, I really love you. I approve of you. You are very important to me. And you look to yourself in the mirror and you repeat such statements. Don't just intellectually repeat them, because you need to really add feelings into it so that there are vibrations inside of you that can feel the love, right?
Yeah.
That is one thing. The second thing what you can do is writing love letters to your own self, right?
Mm.
So when I say love letters, it literally means love letter. You don't just have to write a letter, you have to write a love letter.
Mm.
So that is another thing which you can do. The third thing is, in deep meditations, try connecting to the child. Indulge in deep conversations with the child. That will
Right.
really help you to know your child more and the patterns that it framed, the beliefs
Right.
it framed. So I think these are the things which can easily be done by your own self. Rest
Mm.
of the things, of course, would need therapist help.
Of course. Yeah. One more question is, this is also a good question. I'm not able to create an image of my childhood. My childhood was of a normal child, but I still get scared with everything.
Right. So, which means this scared feeling has kind of blocked your connection with your inner child, right? And since it has been blocked, there is a wall inside. We fear of, accessing those memories because there is a pain which is related to the
Right,
childhood.
right,
So, I would suggest this person to first have confidence in yourself. It's okay to have this pain, right?
right.
It's okay to have gone through this.
Yeah,
And now I can transmute it, I can transcend it, I can, grow even more powerful through by understanding this, and then you make a connect with the child. Let's say one such example that you can do, for example, you're not able to see the face of the child. I would suggest you to refer your childhood pictures.
right.
Pick them up, see the faces that you carried, and sit with one of the pictures and ask what was happening before the event, after
Hmm.
the event. Was I really happy? What was Papa doing? What was Mama doing? Are they
Right.
with me in the picture? All these questions that you are going to ask yourself,
Yeah,
which is really going to help you to churn the energy,
yeah.
of the inner child within, and it can form a very deep bond with your own inner child.
My next question is, I'm not being able to find a life partner and being ditched again and again. I have excessive hunger issues, no satiety. Since 2 years, I'm not able to cure. Can this both things be related to inner child?
Absolutely. These can be related to the inner child. And for example, let's say you are not able to manifest the partner of your choice. The first and the foremost thing that you need to look into your childhood is what was the relationship of your mother, father with their
Right,
own self,
right,
Did your mother sulk that what kind of husband have I got? Did your father say that after marrying your mother, I have, experienced the doomsday? All these things. What was the view in the family with respect to the institution of marriage? And which is what has kind of been absorbed by you, because it is stopping you to marry. This is one thing, right? And the second thing, as far as your eating habits are concerned, so usually what happens is when we are infants, and every time the child cries, the mother feels the child needs feed, the child is hungry, so she feeds the child. It is very rare that we think that child can have some pain or some gastric issue or some other thing. Usually our first answer is, oh, the child is hungry, that is why the child is crying. So what happens is when the child feels the pain, some other pain, and is being fed the milk, the child is creating the belief that for you to resolve the pain you must eat, right? And
yeah,
that is what leads you to obesity issues. And
right,
whenever we feel that, oh, I am anxious and nervous, I
yeah,
begin to swallow junk food and all. This is actually all that, you're
right.
trying to settle yourself, hold yourself with the food,
Hmm.
and that is what the addiction of the food is. So it starts with the infant stage, especially the food starts with the infant stage.
Right, right, right. What are the five most common traits that one carries from childhood, and can they be corrected by the therapy?
Five most common.
Common traits that people bring into their adult life, like five common
Okay.
traits.
So there are
Traits, I think, in the mean, five most common patterns is what she
right.
means.
So there are
Yes.
many, but let me speak to you. If you
Hmm.
are constantly criticizing yourself, that is pattern number one,
Hmm.
right? Second thing is, if you all the time land into hot soup, you are always fighting, you are always
Hmm.
in the zone of conflicts, that is also an inner child issue.
Hmm.
Third thing is, if you're not able to handle your emotions well, you don't know how to express your feelings well.
Right.
Either you are too much into the feelings or you are totally in your own shell, that is another thing. The fourth thing is, if you are a people pleaser, you try to please everybody, you try to make everybody happy, that is another thing. And fifth thing which you can say is, if you feel that there is something wrong with me, as we said that there is a doubt, And sixth is if you constantly feel guilty and shameful.
Mm.
So these
Yeah.
are the things I think
They're most common patterns
most
that, yeah,
most right.
that makes a lot of sense, Hitesh.
Right.
I like this question also. Hi, when I connected with my inner child, I could see my children in the face of my younger self. Is that normal? Can we deal with them for the issues with our inner child?
Right. Yes, it is. It happens. Most of the, especially I've seen mothers,
Yeah,
going through such
yeah,
uh, things, and they feel that they are hugging their own children. It's
right,
perfectly okay to have these images because
right,
they make you connect with the source of love that you have within you.
right, right.
It's perfectly all
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So this one, I think last question we'll take. Um, I see my child, my inner child, like a statue, but he didn't, when I did the exercise, but he didn't hold the balloon. It blew away.
Right. Yes. That means your inner child needs some rework, in the sense because all the children don't behave in the same way. You have to trust the boundaries and respect the boundaries the child is holding.
Right,
Just can't barge into the child and say, oh, you must hold that balloon.
right, right.
So it's okay if the child is not ready to do it
Hmm.
now. We repeat the process and we go to the child. We approach the child with all the love and approval and
Yeah,
without any judgment.
right.
And we continue to repeat. And
Yeah,
there will come a time when the child will build trust on you.
yeah, yeah.
So that's what.
Right. Hitesh, I had one question
Right.
while we were doing the exercise also. I think many people would have thought about this. Can you correct a relationship with somebody else by visiting their inner child or by speaking to their inner child?
You mean somebody?
Like somebody else, anyone in your family, your friends, if you're having a troubled relationship with them, can
Hmm.
you connect to the inner child of that person?
You can do it in your own meditations. You
Right.
can close your eyes and connect to the child of that person.
And would it help solve your relationship troubles today?
So the full help will happen when the person is also eager to work on the
Hmm.
issue.
Hmm.
But yes, of course, when it comes to the sending the vibrations of love to somebody, it
Yeah.
will definitely work on that tangent.
Right,
So,
right, right. Yeah. Okay. So that's amazing. A lot of people want to find you and connect with you. So the best way right now to do that is to also give Hitesh's email ID. Keshav, if we can put his email ID. And also, you can definitely connect on the Thrive platform. You can find him there and message him and chat with him through the platform itself. You can connect with him, call him. Uh, yeah, so anybody wants a session, I highly recommend it. It's very, very, you feel much freer and much lighter after working on your inner child. And like I said before, it doesn't have to be really big issues. It can just be just to feel much better about yourself, become more self accepting, really, up your levels of self-worth. I think it's a fabulous feeling. I'm on again tomorrow evening with Dr. Don Paris to talk about how quantum technology can really help you in these times where we really need to boost immunity. It's some fascinating quantum technology out there. It's something really amazing to even understand and know that these things exist. So please do come on with me and Dawn. I can promise you it's going to be a fascinating conversation. Hitesh, thank you so very much for being here and for answering all of our questions and giving us such insight into such an amazing subject.
thank you so much, Pinky, for having me here. Thank you, Thrive team. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here. And
Yeah.
just wanted to also mention that
Yeah.
there are some inner child meditations that we curated for
Right.
our
Yes.
platform, right?
Yes.
So if any of them would like to practice in their own personal space,
Yeah.
they can definitely, listen to those meditations that are there on the Thrive YouTube channel.
Right. They're there on our Thrive Art and Soul YouTube channel, guys. So you
Right.
can just check them out. Yeah. I think they're called Inner Child only by Hitesh.
That's right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Thanks again, Hitesh.
Thank you
Lovely
so much.
chatting with you. Thank you so
Same
much.
here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Bye.